educators, students, parents, and friends of public schools. We need to talk about standardized tests.
I can predict for you how well kids are going to do on a test by and large. Lower income kids are going to do worse. Children of color are going to do worse. Children with special needs are going to do worse. English language learners are going to do worse. Because if you're of a certain class, of a certain community, if your parents are well educated, you're more likely to do better on the test.
There are those who would say that we need high stakes testing. We need charter schools. We need choice. Because prior to those things, communities of color will not be served. To that, I respond the way that W.B. Du Bois responded back in the day. A system cannot fail those it was never meant to protect.
The SAT was first deployed to diversify the Ivy League beyond rich prep schools. The interesting word there is diversify, especially for a test that at its beginnings was bound to eugenics.
The eugenics movement was, by our standards, certainly racist.
A college is using the SAT as a primary indicator. The test is not telling them the truth.
Most colleges will use the SAT as one piece of evidence, but a lot of them will use it to weed out a whole lot of kids who never then get a chance.
The history of American education, as connected as it is to the field of educational psychology, is a history of racism.
This directly aligns to New Deal policy because the New Deal redlined communities and starved them of resources. I used to work at a school where we had no windows in classrooms. And that's where you see the low test scores, in redline communities, right?
And what we're seeing today is a new iteration of that racism, and one that is more profound and one that is more dangerous because it's an iteration of racism that refuses to be named, refuses to be seen, right? It lurks in the data, it lurks in the numbers, right?
Came up with that test, they only use white people to standardize what this intelligence was. They may not have a lot of green space, or they may have a bunch of trauma from like other things that are happening. And then a teacher is told to come and teach to the test, and what they're learning about is not relevant to their lives at all.
What does high stakes testing have to do with racism? Well, first of all, high stakes testing is certainly about racism because of you have to look at its history, right? Its history will connect it to racism, and the effects that it's having in the world is also connected to racism.
So when we talk about a New Deal for public schools, getting rid of standardized tests and the way we implement them, it's about reimagining and redesigning all of it in alignment with racial justice.